right. So I think to be fair and respectful to everyone's time that is on, we can get started and people will join us as we go. So again, thank you everyone for joining. Welcome back. Hope everyone had a great summer. This is our first meeting of the Brooklyn DD Council on our new platform with a lot of new faces on here for many of you probably. And we will get to introduce everyone who's new to the council. But first, most important, I really want to take a moment. As most of you are aware, unfortunately and suddenly on August 23rd, we were informed of the passing of our colleague, friend, and advocate for people with disabilities, Joyce Levin. Many of you have known Joyce not just from the Brooklyn Council, but definitely from the Brooklyn Council because she was the face of it for so long. And she devoted her life to the cause of bettering the lives of people with disabilities and their families. She had a 36-year career at HeartShare. She was involved in every borough, countless staff and family members. She had an impact on colleagues throughout the disabilities community. It will be impossible to fill her shoes, but I just wanted us to take a moment to remember, recognize, and thank Joyce for everything that she has done for this field. I know many of you have worked with her for a very long time, so if anyone does want to share anything, please feel free.
Brian, this is Chris, and I know Debbie's with me right next to, not far from me. We did it. I know Marilyn, I know some other people, and I know Rochelle. I don't know Rochelle's. It was so many to keep track of people, but I did speak. I told you before at the exec board. They asked where the councils were, so we did speak. Deborah spoke as behalf of the advisory. I spoke for the DD. And as I know Joyce for a long time because I was the former vice chair, former secretary, then former vice chair again, and doing the fair a lot. Joyce will be really extremely missed. And I know a lot of people were very shocked. I was really shocked because all of a sudden she was fine. Then all of a sudden I get this email. And I'm actually, thank God, Brian, you sent the email at perfect time when I was in the restaurant because thank God I wasn't in the train yard because I didn't want to have to lose my balance there. That would be very painful. The bottom line is it was very shocking. She will be missed. Yeah, and it was a really, a surprise. And I know the husband is extremely, at least, he did see that Debbie and I know everyone who was there on virtual and in person to do the memorial. I know they're supposed to make a name for something for her. We should be keeping track of that with HeartShare, and we'll keep that on. Debbie, I know you had something to add.
Yes. First of all, Joyce and I go back many, many, many years. I used to be the secretary and treasurer when Joyce became the chair. We worked together. We worked together with the Family Support Fair. We did the legislative brunch, breakfast. We did many, many different things of advocacy for Brooklyn. Also, when HeartShare was doing their art and jewelry shows, we were there constantly. She is very well, yet she's not just was only known as the professional, but for us parents, we could talk to Joyce when any of the families had issues, and she would explain things. So her presence is going to be missed very much because Joyce was I enjoyed working with Joyce because we were partners. I wasn't a parent, I was a partner with her. And I also said something that not many people know this about Joyce. Joyce, when she also works with the individuals, even though she talks with them, to them, not down to them. So everyone is a partner who works together, and her presence is going to be very missed because we were hoping that, she would be coming once in a blue moon to help us when we restructure the advisory council, when we eventually try to bring back the Brooklyn Family Support Fair. So we at the advisory council, and also I was very happy that she and I were able to work together when we had COVID came and we weren't allowed to meet in person. I called and said, Joyce, let's just share the meeting together. And we shared the meeting together. So this way it made it easier. So instead of having to do 2 meetings, we were able to combine one. And I'm going to miss us working together because it's not easy without her here. And I'm going to miss her. Her husband, Jerry, is a wonderful man. And I know they're going to name a few things after her, and she totally deserves that, because people should always remember the legacy of Joyce Levin. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. All right, we will do our best to live up to the expectations that Joyce had for this group. And that being said, as I said, there are a lot of new faces as part of the Brooklyn Council, or not new faces, but new people in new roles. So we'll take a minute to just quickly introduce. So I am Brian Rothenstein. I am the CEO of Heaven's Hands Community Services. I am the new chairperson for the Brooklyn Council. And I'm happy to introduce Rochelle, who is our parent vice chair.
Good morning, everybody.
We have Juno Greaves, who's our provider vice chair. I'm not sure if I saw her box pop up yet, but at some point you guys will get to meet her. We have Marion, who is our secretary.
Yes.
Hi, Marion.
Hi.
And everyone knows our friend Christopher, who is our treasurer.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him. I got to meet that guy.
Yeah. So a couple of things as we get the council back and revamped and revigorated. You've probably seen lots of emails from me over the summer. I apologize. I tried to not overwhelm, but we do have a new website, BKDDCouncil.org. On our website, you can find a list of all of our executive team and officers, our committees as we get those restarted, important news and updates. Our meeting calendar is up there, and I will try to keep that updated with not just our general council meetings, but all the committee meetings as well. We are back and active on Facebook. That is also facebook.com, bkddcouncil.org. No, not .org, I'm sorry. Facebook.com/bkddcouncil. And there again, you can find news and updates, links to our meetings when we have them, and a great way for people to be able to share things going on within our community. We are, like I said, we are also working hard on reestablishing a lot of our council's committees that have been on pause since COVID. Last year, we were able to restart the Adult Transition Committee, led by Heather Lifeland and Pilar Jones. And you guys already heard from Heather a little bit at the start of the meeting. And they've been running a great meeting and will continue. And their links for their meetings are on the calendar on our website. We also, Deborah and Rose, continue to chair the Family and Provider Information Committee. And those links should be on our website. And we are restarting the Children's Services Committee, thanks to Marjorie. Marjorie is here if you just want to say a quick hello to everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to doing a lot of good work.
So Marjorie is restarting the Children's Services Committee, and her meeting is on our website as well. We are actively working to restart our legislative committee, as that's one of the most important committees, not just in Brooklyn, but legislative and advocacy, everything we do to fight for the people we support and their families in our field. So we have 2 people who are interested. We're just waiting on confirmations. And then once they confirm with us, we can give you guys some good news of when those meetings will be and who they are. And then also, we're looking for volunteers to step up and take on chairs of a care management committee, residential and housing, and employment committees. So if anyone is interested, please feel free, reach out to myself, Rochelle, Marion, Chris, anyone that you're comfortable reaching out to, and we will have a conversation and let you know what's involved and how we can move forward with that. Some other things we are working on for the new year. We're working on new membership forms and dues for the coming year. I know there have not been any Brooklyn Council dues collected for quite a number of years since COVID, but it is important we get back to that. And I think all of the agencies understand that. Obviously, all families and individuals will not be charged dues, but for agencies that attend, and that will help us cover things such as online platform like moving to Zoom, maintaining our website, and then of course the big activities everyone loves like the legislative breakfast and family support resource fair. And I know everyone's excited for those things to get back up and running and be able to attend those in person. And then one other quick announcement on, and it's been in the emails. You know, since COVID, the Brooklyn Council and the Brooklyn Family Service and Support.
Brooklyn Family Support Service Advisory Council.
Thank you, Chris. I knew I could count on you. Brooklyn Family Service Support Advisory Council. We've kind of worked together to get through COVID, and now that things are kind of back to normal, or the new normal, as we're going to call it, we will be splitting our meetings back up like they used to be. So we're holding our meeting today really because of Yom Kippur falling next Monday, but the Brooklyn Council will be going back to virtual meetings on the last Monday of the month, or the fourth Monday of the month, like it always used to be. And Debbie's
Except May,
meeting,
and except in May,
yeah,
when it's Memorial Day, then we go back
yes.
to, we may have to do the 3rd.
And those, all the dates are on our calendar. I just don't have them all to read through them right now. And to save some time, you guys can look at the calendar on our website. But while we'll still obviously be supporting Debbie's group and working together behind the scenes, we will be having our separate meetings again. And Debbie's meetings are also on our calendar. So if anyone wants to find those meetings as well, I added those. They shared the dates with me. But we just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. So if they come on and they don't see it being called a joint meeting anymore, it's not because we're not working together or not fighting the same fight. It's just we're going back to our old ways of separate meetings.
Yes,
All
the
right.
advisory council will still be meeting. We still, and whatever meeting dates, Brian, for your council and your subcommittees will also be on the advisory council's website. So we'll be working with each other. We're still working as a team when it comes to sharing information with each other.
Yes.
And Brian,
And that's what this field's all about, collaboration and teamwork.
And Brian, just to let everyone know that the calendar is also the same calendar as Brian's. So whatever Brian puts in, it's linked to our website's calendar as well. So you have a choice to go either website. So please, everyone, make sure you share that information to both councils' websites with an S. Let's make that clear. Councils with an S.
All right. Thank you, Chris. All right. So now looking at our agenda, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for, there's a lot of good upcoming stuff for the Brooklyn Council. So please keep joining us, spread the word. If anyone is not on our mailing list, there is a form to join our mailing list on our website. It pretty much comes to me and I add you right away. So if you need to add some colleagues or anything like that, there's an easy way to do that on our website. Again, BKDDCouncil.org. And next on our agenda is an OPW update. And I know we have Nina from OPWDD. So if you're ready, Nina, you can give your
Yes,
update.
I am. Yep. Thank you so much for the invite. And I feel really horrible for not being able to attend you virtually. So I hope next month the Zoom issue will be resolved. So I hope everyone
I'm sorry, Nina. I just checked the setting and I tried to alter it. Like I said, I don't know if it'll impact it now, but we should definitely be good for the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I have a couple of updates from OPWDD. We had a busy summer. Right now, we are planning for SANI's annual statewide conference that will take place on Thursday, October 26th through Saturday, October 28th at the Albany Marriott Hotel on Wolf Road. OPWDD is notifying fiscal intermediaries that conference registration fees and reimbursable as IDGS through a person's self-direction budget. Costs associated with lodging and meals are not reimbursable for this event. In July, OPWDD has announced a new statewide campaign called Look Beyond My Developmental Disability to combat the stigma that people with developmental disabilities face in their daily lives. The new campaign and an accompanying exhibit were unveiled at a special ceremony held on July 26 with OPWDD and New York's Developmental Disabilities Planning Council at the Empire State Plaza. The Look Beyond campaign was spurred by legislation Governor Hochul signed in 2022 directing OPWDD to develop and implement a public awareness campaign that combats discrimination, stigma, and stereotyping of people with developmental disabilities. We will use public forums, social and mass media, internet, radio, and print advertising to educate the public about developmental disabilities and highlight the positive ways people with developmental disabilities contribute to their state and their communities. And despite all the tremendous progress that we've made since the days of Willowbrook, many people with developmental disabilities still experience stereotyping and discrimination in many aspects of life, including access to housing, employment, medical care, which can lead to poor physical and mental health outcomes, as well as social exclusion and isolation. The Look Beyond campaign seeks to change that. And for information on how you can be part of OPWDD Look Beyond campaign, please visit us on our website, opwdd.ny.gov Look Beyond, or you can contact our communications office. And a message regarding the staffing. OPWDD and voluntary service providers continue to experience significant staffing challenges across the programs and service types, and addressing the workforce crisis is OPWDD most immediate and urgent concern. You probably are aware that in summertime, OPWDD held from July through August 15, OPWDD held a series of strategic plan forums across the state to share updates and key information, preview activities for the next year, and offer an opportunity for stakeholders to provide comments. This summer, OPWDD conducted a stakeholder survey that included general questions on what people know and how they feel about our strategic plan activities and progress. And the survey was closed on August 25th. And as a reminder, the OPWDD strategic plan was released in November of last year. And this represents our agreed upon plan for advancing OPWDD supports and services, policies, and operations. It provides a guidepost for monitoring our programs and serves to keep us focused on what OPWDD and stakeholders agreed as the priority activities and service system improvements to undertake. I hope many of you had the opportunity to participate in the forums, and Commissioner was here in the beginning of August, and we all had the opportunity to hear from families and stakeholders about their concerns. My next topic would be about the public health emergency, right, that is ending on November 1st. And in April, we submitted a federal plan notice, public notice of a waiver amendment that will address programmatic rate setting and administrative needs. And this is just a reminder that OPWDD is proposing to permanently adopt some of the provisions of the waiver that were temporarily authorized under the authority of Appendix K. And the proposed waiver amendment includes programmatic fiscal administrative changes, which are intended to build the lessons that we learned from the pandemic, and the proposed changes would have an approval on October 1st. And the last thing I'm going to mention today is the public rulemaking. CMS issued a notice of public rulemaking that is called the Access Rule. The Access Rule will ensure that access to Medicaid services, generally being referred to as an access rule, and it will improve Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program managed care, finance, and quality. The access rule was initially drafted by CMS and has the potential for significant benefit to the developmental disability service system by improving and strengthening access to home and community-based services, increasing transparency, better supporting direct support professionals, and refocusing quality measures and outcomes for people receiving waiver services. LPWDD has engaged in numerous conversations and with its stakeholders community to ensure its various perspectives on the access rule have been heard in anticipation of providing public comments to CMS. And that is it for me for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Does anyone have any questions for Nina at OPWDD?
Brian, this is Chris. Nina, one question just to be clear for that conference. Can you please be clarified what's that? Who should be attending that conference?
This is the Self-Advocacy Association for New York State, SANI's conference. This is an annual conference for self-advocates.
Thank you. Any other questions for Nina? All right, thank you so much, Nina. Oh, I'm sorry, someone said something.
Something just struck me when she mentioned the strategic plan for OPWDD. And I know the city councils are going to be meeting with the city department tomorrow. And the one thing, I'm not sure it's in this OPW strategic plan, but maybe it's time to somehow recognize that the DD providers in New York City work closely with the city department and the city councils. The 5-year plan's got to recognize the 5 councils in New York City, which don't exist anywhere else. And we don't want to have central office lose track of that, especially when it comes to decision-making and planning. The council's always had a major role in developing the priorities for spending, and that money is almost all OPW money now. But maybe it's time to start working that back into OPW's strategic plans and into the city plans, if the city has any plans. So, and it's kind of a note for myself too, that we'll try to bring that up, the role of the councils in New York City and in DD services. So I just throw that out there while it was in my head.
All right, thank you, Richard. And actually, Richard, first of all, let me introduce you. Richard is the representative from IAC, Interagency Council on Developmental Disabilities. And thank you, Richard, for doing double duty this morning, because I know this is the rare occasion that the Queens and Brooklyn Council fell on the same date on the calendar due to all the holidays. Yeah. So I think Richard jumped over to Queens and now joined us here in Brooklyn to give the same speech over.
Well, it worked out good and got me warmed up a little. Probably not totally, because we're at the beginning of the year and there's so much on our plate right now. I mean, on everybody's plate. And so for those of you who don't know Interagency Council, let me just throw it out there. We're a provider association representing about 150 nonprofit providers in the downstate regions, not just New York City. We have a number of providers from Long Island, Rockland, Westchester, and a growing number from around the state. And our main purpose is to advocate for your needs and the family's needs and to share information. So IAC member agencies just are constantly contacting us for clarity on different new rules, or if there's a problem somewhere. The CCOs are also members of IAC. So we have a good relationship with them. And our main role, again, is to solve problems and make sure government is doing what it's supposed to do and advocating for your needs with the legislature and the governor's office. Fortunately, we've always had good relationships with OPW, State Education Department, Department of Health for Early Intervention and Clinics. The relationship with state education is improving all the time. And that's a major change in the last few years. So the thing coming up right now is, it's only September, but this is the time of year government starts putting together its budget that has to be passed next April. And Division of Budget put out a call letter to all the government agencies, New York State government agencies, calling for zero growth. And this is going to, excuse me, this is going to be the theme of the year, because between immigration crisis and other issues, there's the money that we're all hoping for, they're saying isn't going to be there. So the budget process is right now, all state agencies are putting together their proposal to the governor's office and Division of Budget. They're calling for a flat budget. At the same time, the consumer price index has gone up to 3.2%, which is less than last year. Remember, last year we were asking for 8.5%, that was based on the consumer price index. We ended up getting 4%. So this year, the CPI is 3.2. That would be a minimal amount, but we're going to, right now the discussion is how we're going to add more money in there for staff. The DSPs and the clinical staff and support staff, we have to increase that funding, increase those salaries, because elsewhere everyone's getting increases and they can't keep up. It's hard to keep up with the DSPs and to hire enough people. It's just getting tougher and tougher. So that's going to be coming up soon, where we'll start the budget process. There's going to be some rallies in November, but they haven't set the date yet. Someone said it's probably going to be November 15th, but there are going to be rallies in Albany, at least 3 of them. But we'll also help councils organize rallies and visits in the local counties, especially in New York City. You'll be visiting the local offices to meet with those legislators. And we see more and more as more families get involved and they go on those visits. Families have an incredibly strong impact with legislators. You're from their neighborhood, you vote, and you have your stories. So we're going to depend on the families as well as all the providers. A lot of activity going on in the education world. On the good side of things, State Education Department, for the first time ever, is going to be having regional forums, both virtual and in person, about the upcoming changes to the rate methodology. And they're just starting to work on that, but they want to talk to providers and to families and get the word out there. So that's an important improvement in recent years. Got to give a good portion of that credit to Chris Trieber, who works for IAC. Hopefully he'll be able to come to some meetings in the future with focus on the education world. On the downside, about a year or so ago, the city used COVID funds to expand the day for preschool and childcare programs. And it's called the Enhanced Program, where it adds a couple hours to the day. So therefore, there were more expenses for staff and other things. And that contract ends this coming June. And as we've expected all along, there were no funds identified to continue that funding, since the COVID funding is ending. Last week, Randy Levine of Advocates for Children championed a campaign we asked you all to participate in. It's for a call for action. I think all the councils responded to that with sending in a petition to the city, and this is before the 15% cuts the mayor is talking about. This is solely about the cuts to funding to our preschools and other childcare programs because the COVID money won't be there. How that's going to be implemented, it's too soon to tell, but you can imagine trying to reduce the salaries of the teachers who are also currently underfunded. So we're going to need everybody's assistance on that. And then on the 15% cut, the mayor's been talking about because of the migrant crisis. When no one's arguing the crisis, but we're hoping Washington will respond. Unfortunately, they have the wrong people in Congress, but we'll see what happens. And there's no details on how that cut will happen. It's not across the board. The City Board of Ed is a city agency, as are the other city agencies. Have all been asked to present a 15% cut, starting with November 1st. They want to see a 5% cut in all the funding, all the spending, not the funding. So the 5% cut equals about $700 million to the city contracts. We haven't heard yet how they're planning to manage that, but it's something you got to keep your ears to the ground on. IAC and other groups and the councils will communicate that to you. When we need your help, we will ask for it. Then in January, they're going to expect to see another 5% cut. And then by April, another 5% cut, totaling $2 billion to New York City contracts. I guess the mayor announced a hiring freeze immediately. That hiring freeze can count towards the 5%. So hopefully DOE has enough vacant positions that they won't fill that could take care of that 5%. Announce no new funding. So if you have anything in the works, and I've seen other things come out of the city saying we're going to start this new program. It's like, well, I'm not sure where they're getting the money, but stay tuned for that. Now the rest of things we're after, just I attend all 5 councils in New York City, and there seem to be some common themes as there are at the committee meetings of IAC and the membership committee. Of course, one of the top issues is staffing, how to attract staffing to our agencies. And the one thing everyone reported at 2 meetings last week, the residential committee and the human resources committee, that the bonuses that you were able to pass out to employees is having somewhat an opposite effect. People, for some reason, are starting to feel more comfortable, so they're starting to job hop. And I don't know if you're experiencing that, but almost every agency who's spoken up said, yeah, we're losing people. Or I don't know if you're attracting people by promising them more, but it's having somewhat of an opposite effect. Don't take away those bonuses, but I don't think we were expecting that. Another big issue, as you're all aware of, by November 11th, OPW is expecting everybody to be able to return to day program. That would be great. But number one, attracting staff to your programs, and number two, the bus companies attracting staff, bus drivers and aides has not been easy. And then some of the bigger issues that seem to come up everywhere are we have the family support reimbursement program, which was started back in late 80s, early 90s, which was to provide kind of a payer of last resort where other sources didn't pay for that service or that thing that that family really needed, but there was no easy way to get it. Family support reimbursement program provided that. Somehow over the years, that's become stricter and stricter to award the money. This year, agencies are saying, I can't spend it. I can't get approval from the DDROs to spend that money. Hopefully some of you have a different experience, but we have couple agencies that are just turning in their contract because you can't get approval to spend anything. one of the hot topics, and a lot of this is coming from central office, creating these what's allowed and what's not allowed. And we're working on them. I guess I'll need more family advocacy to work on it. But one of the big topics happens to be diapers. Central office won't approve the purchase of diapers other than through Medicaid. And those of you who have an older child that needs the adult diapers, they don't work. Mattresses are getting ruined. The mattress protectors are getting ruined. And
Excuse me, Richard.
yeah,
Hi, it's Deborah. You know, I'm chairing the subcommittee for the ADM reimbursement.
I know that. And we're
So-
depending on you.
Yes, and are
I was-
you going to send me all that information of the agencies who are not going to keep their program? The statewide, we're taking it very seriously.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, let me share something with you, and I wanted to call you before about make it public. When we last spoke to central office,
Mhm.
they're putting everything on your shoulders.
Yes,
Oh,
I know.
Don't tell us about it, tell Deborah. And then I hear from the Family Support Council members, the centralized one is, well, OPW is not allowing us to do anything. So Deborah, you gotta,
Yes, I know. Because
You-
this coming Friday is the statewide.
okay,
What I'm trying to also do, which you and everybody can assist me, is I need to know in the region that you cover and also the upstate regions to let us know what's working and not working. We are totally aware of what they're not allowing, which isn't fair before they allowed it. But there's always been an issue with diapers because of the Medicaid, but not every child gets Medicaid and gets
well,
that.
that's the issue
We're
with the
aware of that.
Medicaid. What
They're-
I hear from the families and from providers, the Medicaid diapers are such poor quality.
They're right, you're right, they're
Provider
horrible.
Medicaid Doesn't
They're
work.
horrible. You're
Yeah.
right, you're absolutely right.
And central office is being extremely stubborn on that.
Yes, but we also need to have the families also do what's called a fair hearing with Medicaid if they're not. And if they keep doing that over and over again across the state and go further up to the appeals and also let the elected, their local state officials know, that's how that's how you get changes done. So it's more than one way. You have to also through Medicaid, make a actual fair hearing appeal. You must.
But
Because
Deborah,
Equipment's not working.
yeah,
I
but the
agree.
reimbursement program is not Medicaid. It's
I
state
got that,
dollars.
but what I said is OPWDD said that the diapers are covered by Medicaid, and that's why they said no.
But they don't work.
Correct. That's
And you
why
know
I'm
that, so
saying
we'll let you take
That's
the
why-
battle to central office.
I am battling them. In a
Okay.
way that's with
Could you
correct.
do this offline?
Nope,
Okay,
because this was brought on up, Marion, by Richard, and it's taken part of my report, but I want everyone to know that I'm doing the role that I am required to do. Okay,
Okay.
Yes, but
So
this
noted,
discussion,
so noted, so noted.
fine, I noted it, but still, but Richard, we need to talk later about it.
yeah, I'm sorry.
perfect.
Okay,
You touched the sore point there.
no, that's okay,
other-
but I need to know.
The other issue that's coming up regularly now is what's called the CROW process, Certified Residential Opportunities, and people who need residential care, and needing to be on the top priority list. That has to be looked at to get people the services they need. A lot of the people on the CROW list get referred to agencies that have vacancies, but the home is totally wrong for that person. And I think it's something OPW would like to solve also, but there just hasn't been any development or very minimal development in recent years. So that's another hot topic. And then just as a reminder, if you remember, levels of supervision that went into effect on this September 1st. It's been around a couple of years. People have been discussing it. We're trying to find out how it's going. Last time I asked that question, I was met with silence. So that requires experienced staff and more staff. And so that's something else we're looking at. And finally, I think on a bigger scale issue is one of our concern is who is receiving self-direction services and the family support reimbursement services. What are the demographics of those people? Some people say it's, well, those families that are able to manipulate the system and understand it and fight their way through it. But you have a lot of families who aren't that capable or don't have the time to do it. So that's something we're going to be asking OPW for, is the demographics of that. We'll see what the CCOs have as far as demographics. But common sense would say there's a lot of people who could benefit from those services and don't have access to it. So I think those are the major items. And this is the beginning of the year, and I think it's going to be a long year, and hopefully with a lot of collaboration with OPW and the other government systems.
Thank you, Richard. I will say to your question about how's it going with the level of supervision, I think I can speak on behalf of all the agencies. Some of the feedback we gave leading up to it in the years it took to develop, just the amount of additional paperwork. And the response is, when are we providing that quality of support to the people we support? When are we letting them enjoy their programs and enjoy the places they live, versus now everything's become even more documentation and pulling staff away to be able to do that, to prove that they were supervised correctly versus that they were given a good experience and a good life. So there has to be a balance, and I think it's leaning more one way than the other.
Well said.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Richard?
I do. It's Rochelle. Okay. Hi, Richard. Good morning. It's good to see you.
Hi.
You know, speaking on behalf as the family vice chair, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about advocacy and the need for family involvement and everyone's involvement. So I don't have to tell anybody here the impact of the workforce emergency. I think Richard laid out a lot of the impacts, particularly on the reopening of day programs and the staffing and certified residences and across the board in all programs. And this is certainly keenly felt by our family members the most, who don't have the quality of programming that they need because of the staffing emergency. And we are at a very critical time now. We have been advocating for years now about this workforce emergency, and we've really made no significant progress. And it is time for us to really up the ante with our lawmakers and with the governor. And in order to do that, we really need to do some very robust and energetic constituent lobbying. We need to mobilize all the families in your agencies and all the DSPs who are willing and able to, and also program participants who are willing and able to, self-advocates, to speak with their legislative representatives and also to participate in rallies and campaigns geared toward the governor, who we would like to get an increase for our DSPs into the governor's budget, which he's working on now and the whole executive is working on now. If we can get something in the governor's budget, we won't be facing such an uphill battle after January. It's really critical that we start putting the pressure on now and get people to listen to us and understand our concerns. And for those of us here in New York City, think about it. We are going to be getting an increase in the minimum wage soon to $16. Now, the average wage of DSP, from what I understand in our region, is a little above $16. So what that means also is a lot of other companies are going to be increasing their wages because of the increase in minimum wage. And we will potentially be losing more and more workers, because being a DSP is not a minimum wage job. It just isn't. It's much harder than most minimum wage jobs. It requires greater skill. It requires greater dedication. And to basically give people only slightly above minimum wage will, terminally handicap our recruitment. And it will just get worse and worse and worse. So to prevent that downward spiral, I know I'm going to echo something that Brian said in the very beginning of the meeting. We need to rebuild quickly our legislative committee so that we can organize a campaign here in Brooklyn, because Brooklyn has a very large number of state legislators, and they are very influential. And if we don't get to them and get their support, and I do want to thank, I see a representative here from Senator Prasad's office, who's always been our staunch advocate. And we need help more than ever now, because this is the year that we have to make progress on this issue. And so I'm making an appeal to all the providers who are on this call, and also family members on this call and self-advocates, for those who are interested in working on the legislative committee and helping to organize this campaign, to let Brian know as soon as possible. I can't emphasize this enough. This is D-Day for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Any other questions or comments for Richard?
This is Chris. I have my hand up, Brian. The hands are up. And there's someone, and there's Heather behind me. Richard, the one thing we definitely need to watch strongly is the school buses also, because I agree with Rochelle, what she was saying, and echoing with Deborah. A lot of these issues, we really need to take a notch on this, because some of us will say, yeah, we're taking this seriously. We really need to take this extremely serious, because it's not it's the family, it's an individual, it's everything that, you know, services made, you know, with, you're hearing Adams cutting 5%, that's still, you know, a city is still an issue. We still need to make sure, keep an eye on the federal and state also. So I know Roxanne's staff is always with us. I think we also need to remind everyone that city and federal officials, we need to get them as well. And if we don't do this, we will just have more issues coming up in the lines, the pipelines. And we really need to take it a higher serious for both councils at this time. We need to put our egos, our anger to the side, and let's work together on letting them know that how serious we are. And I know, Richard, you mentioned something in another borough, the advisory councils too. So you know that councils with an S, as you know, your former president always said, let's get things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi.
Heather?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. So I have two questions. One backtracks to the diaper thing. One of my questions is, and it doesn't have to necessarily be answered out loud. Has there been any thought to, you know, telling Medicaid that their diapers are not the best quality rather than wasting? That's one thought. And then the second thought is, I've heard that the mayor is saying that he wants to cut down the budget by 5%. Does that include OPWDD?
Well, answering the second question, no, it doesn't include OPWDD. You know, the governor's putting together the state budget now, and that's what the commissioners are now presenting. But the city cuts won't have anything to do. What the city's done in the past, and why there's so few city dollars in your services, is because OPW medicated almost everything. So the city was able to drop contracts, and because they became Medicaid funded. And at that time, we were hoping the city would use its funds to create other services and weren't Medicaidable. And then now I forgot your first question.
My first question was about the diapers just being of better quality.
Yeah. I don't know how to take that one on.
I need that. No, I'm going up. I'm going straight up. Get a bag. Go from here.
I guess it was sort of rhetorical, maybe not very productive of saying.
Hi, Heather, I'll make this really quick. It's been told for more than 40 years since Medicaid started how horrible their diapers are. The problem is that you have to have parents keep filing for hearings, as well as you then may have to do what's called a class action lawsuit to improve the quality. So it's a very uphill battle.
Got it.
It may take forever.
And it's one reason why the Family Support Reimbursement Program is so valuable. It was up to the families to request it and a local team to approve it. So if the family could justify and argue that, you know, I need better quality diapers that you can't buy with Medicaid, then that would be approved. I don't know when it got reversed, but
And the parent didn't have Medicaid or the insurance. They proved the medical insurance would not cover it. You need a lot of proof even before they made the changes for that, since it is covered under Medicaid. So you have to show that they did not have that part of Medicaid.
Okay.
All right. So thank you. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you joining us and being able to get to both meetings this morning. Glad that worked out.
and I'll stay
So
on
next on
the meeting.
Great, thank you. Next on our agenda, do we have any representatives from New York City Department of Health to give an update? I know there's been some change over there and I'm not sure if they've assigned anyone yet. All right, so then coming up on our agenda, we're gonna go to Deborah for an update on the Brooklyn Family Support Service Advisory Council. And then I forgot to mention this earlier, and I apologize. You both are on the call. I know it was mentioned. We do have a presentation today from Jeremy Willinger and Maria Willis of CP Unlimited on their 2023 wheelchair cleaning and maintenance clinic coming up on Saturday, September 30th. So please make sure you stay around to hear that. It's a great opportunity. And they have some other events as well that I'm sure they'll talk about. But right now, Deborah, as the chairperson of the Brooklyn Family Support Service Council Advisory, you can give your update.
Thank you very much, Brian. Okay. Good morning, everyone. As you say, today is going to be one of the last. We will do at times when it's very important, joint meetings with the Brooklyn DD Council. The advisory councils, not just mine, across state, we have lots of work to get done because of the major changes they did to the ADM. Also, what's made it harder is the medical justification. And a lot of the medical professionals have been emailing me and making formal complaints that they don't understand how the justification and how they're supposed to write it. So they have moved. So what will happen is that we, the statewide, and I represent Brooklyn, we will be having our statewide meeting, which is normally held on a Wednesday. It's going to be this Friday, the 22nd, from 11 to 2, or it could be wrong, 3. I don't have the links yet. I will get the links and then we will forward it to everybody who will be on the links. And also, once we have a public session, please, everybody, sign up for the public session and make your voices heard that you do not like this at all. You think it's not correct, and I agree with you. And our next Brooklyn Family Support Advisory Council is going to be on Tuesday, October 17th. The other piece I want to bring up is that, Chris, you want to mention it, or you want me to talk about October 13th?
I'll mention it because I know Carrie's with me also, and she's been sending this out.
And this is part of the advisory council.
As this will be quick, I know some people are dying to hear the other stuff. Let me make this clear. The Brooklyn Advisory Council normally had called an outreach. We are now changing our name to Developmental Disability Resource Fair. That will be on Friday, starting Friday, October 13th at 11 a.m. The first one will be at the Kings Highway Library, as Carrie will remind everyone on her leaflets and websites, as well as our website. I know Brian's going to put it up on his, which will be great. We will have different agencies there. I'm sorry for that noise in the background, but I'm just going to remind everyone that that will be on there, and I will put that into the chat. Again, October 13th from 11 a.m. at the Kings Highway Library. Thank you.
And as I said, my parents are ready to advocate for the changes, but at the statewide, we will be bringing it up. But Richard, I know I need extra information, and I'm not going to make complete. I'm advocating, but I'm going to make sure I have the evidence with me and all the facts before I completely say everything. I've already told them that the trainings they must do for the families must be increased. And they need to do two types, really three types, to be geared toward what a family can understand. Two, for the professionals, the care coordinators who used to be helped, it used to be helped by then it was known as MSC coordinators. But we do have issues, so we want that to be held. Next one is we want just explanation of what is the medical professional supposed to justify. With that, that's all I'm going to say. But if anybody has information, my email with the advisory council is on the chat. Please email us and let me know your concerns. And please, you have the right to make public complaints at the statewide meeting if you feel this is not correct. So thank you very much. And that's all I have to say, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Does anyone have any questions for Debbie? All right, so now we have our presentation. Again, Jeremy Willinger and Maria Willis of CP Unlimited. Thank you so much for joining us, and take it away.
Thank you, Brian. And welcome to everyone here. It's really great to meet everyone. We were so happy to connect with the group because, for CP Unlimited, an organization that is really committed to making outreach and benefiting all persons who use wheelchairs and people with IDD, we thought this would be a terrific group through which to offer one of our leading and very visible and impactful services and programs. And Maria, I'm going to invite you to jump in whenever possible here. So let me introduce myself. My name is Jeremy Willinger. I'm the Chief Communications Officer at CP Unlimited. I have the pleasure of working with Maria Willis, who's our VP and Community Government Liaison for Brooklyn. And what we are proposing here is to help all of your persons who use wheelchairs with a complimentary cleaning, sanitizing, and repair clinic. We do these throughout the boroughs and now in Hudson Valley with some fair regularity. And the idea is to offer so we know that Medicaid only covers about 2 cleanings per year, but obviously, being in the city, eating in your chair, living, maybe those 2 cleanings don't quite cover everything. And so there's an opportunity for us to fill in and provide, these kind of services. And what that can mean is for push chairs or motorized chairs, we can sanitize, we can evaluate, we can clean, and if there's any repairs that need to be done or equipment that needs tweaking, we can certainly also do that. In certain instances, if people need new wheelchairs, we can also provide those, and we have in the past. I know one particular instance, someone hadn't left their house in 3 years, and we were able to get them a new chair, and now they can go out and shop and be in the community. So on September 30th specifically, we're doing one of our wheelchair clinics over at our day hab program at the Carmen Aquiloni Center, which is in the Crown Heights, East New York neighborhood. And folks do not actually need to be there in person. We have our own private CP transport services, so we can bring chairs and then drop them off later in the day. We'll also have a space for people if they want to stay there and their DSPs, they can sit and relax. But we do have the ability to transport the chairs back and forth. Again, totally free, totally open. The process through which would just be to email one of our colleagues who is in charge of scheduling. They will, you can say what slot you'd like and what specific time, if you'd like to coordinate that, and we'll get you in. And I can also mention that in the future, we are going to be soon getting a mobile van, which will allow us to do one-off cleanings, and we can go anywhere, do the cleaning of the chair in the van, and then return it right there, so we can make it mobile and even more accessible to people. For us, for CP Unlimited, it's not only people with IDD, it's also seniors and veterans. And so, in our mind, we have a grant through the Mother Cabrini Foundation to do this, and we've reached hundreds of persons who use wheelchairs throughout the boroughs this year alone. And we thought this would be a wonderful opportunity for the Brooklyn DDC to also provide the service for your person supported. Right now, the program is going to run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have open slots, and we would love to welcome you guys. Maria, take it away. What did I?
You covered most of the wheelchair opportunity that we are offering. I just wanted to give just a brief background of the organization.
Thank you.
CP Unlimited, which is Constructive Partnerships Unlimited, was previously known as Cerebral Palsy Association of New York State. So I know most of you know us by CP. And we existed since 1946. About 3 years ago, the name changed basically to provide and expand our mission, our services, while promoting person-centered practices. So that's why we changed our name. Our CEO, Joseph Pancari, continues to carry the organization mission by creating a fulfilling educational and caring environment for the people that we support every day, which has been CP objective since we were called to provide services and support to persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities affected by the Willowbrook State School. We have an array of services. Jeremy mentioned one of them, but we also have residential services in all boroughs, including Hudson Valley. They have services, self-directions, Article 16 clinics, and transportation, and that's just to mention a few. And that's the brief background.
Thank you. And I will piggyback on that to also say that CP Unlimited is affiliated with the Metro Community Health Centers. And so we offer free and open clinical neurology, OBGYN, dentistry. And so anywhere you see a Metro clinic, Metro Community Health Centers, we would also happily welcome your folks, to that program to advance their clinical and psychological health. I see there's a Deborah Grief has her hand raised, so don't
That's
keep
right.
talking.
It's Deborah Gripe, I'll forgive you.
Right, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm used
Sorry.
to that. I don't want to cause you grief. Okay, but let me. This is the question I'm asking in reference to the cleaning of the wheelchairs. Do you have something on your website, or that you could, or email us to me so that I own a wheelchair. I just want to know what's the right way to keep mine clean if I'm doing it right.
Sure. So while we don't have necessarily on the website instructions for how to do that, we do have a series of videos about how we do it on YouTube. We have a whole playlist that talks with some of our rehab technicians, shows them cleaning, shows some of the tools we use. I did at about 10:07 a.m. I shared a link and the flyer in the chat. The link actually goes to like a news story that promotes the September 30th cleaning, but also we're doing one on October 7th, the following Saturday in the Bronx. So if you guys are networked and have folks in the Bronx who could also take advantage within your community, we again happily welcome them. That cleaning is going to be at our West Farm Center, which is up on Bryant Avenue. Both are featured on the link.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for you guys.
Well, I think so.
Okay,
but,
appreciate that.
Yeah. Just so happy to be here. Happy to welcome folks, and again, thanks, Brian, and all the folks on the DDC for the opportunity to share this.
Thank you, Brian.
No problem. And I know I did see someone asked in the chat for the flyer, so it is on the Brooklyn Council's website. And like Jeremy said, he did post it earlier on in the meeting, so there is a link in the flyer there. But if for whatever reason you can't scroll back or you joined after he posted it, if you go to BKDDCouncil.org, it's posted a few times in our chat. I think it's the second or third post right on our website for everyone to be able to see and get to.
And because I couldn't resist, I just shared it again in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Jeremy and Maria. This sounds like a great program for the community of Brooklyn, and I know you go through the other boroughs as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And next on our agenda is committee updates. So as I mentioned and introduced a few of our committee chairs, some new, some returning. If you guys want to take a moment to reintroduce your committees, talk about when your next meeting is coming, and if you have anything special on the agenda, please feel free to do so now.
Do you want the
Gonna should
provide
jump.
information to start? You there, Rose?
Yes, I'm here. I wasn't sure what order we were going, but I am happy to share.
Let's go, Rose. We're
Good
gonna
morning, everyone. I am Rose Sauls. I am the Division Director at Brooklyn Community Services, and I have been given the opportunity to co-chair the Family Provider Information Committee alongside with Deborah. I have been running the committee, I don't know since how long. I used to do the Medicaid Service Coordination Committee meeting, and then that now transferred to the Family Provider Information Committee. Our committee usually meet every second Wednesday of the month. So now we are going to be meeting, our next meeting will be October 11th. This committee, it's very interesting because again, we have families on one side and we also have provider, right? This is a really good opportunity to kind of have both of get both of both worlds, right? So you have the family sharing information, you have the providers, and also we also tie in the care coordination organization. The CCOs are also part of our meeting because they are providers, right? So what a better place for family to come and learn when we have a lot of questions, concerns regarding, care managers. So the CCOs also represented in our meeting. We always ask in our meeting for those of you who are able to join us to come with ideas because we want to share as much relevant information to you all as providers as well as families. So any topics that you would like to discuss, we encourage you to put them in the chat, and Deborah and I do our due diligence to find speakers that can deliver on those topics for all of you to come and learn with us as we transition. And we can wait, to meet in person as well. But we felt like our meeting has grew since we've been virtual because I think it is so much easier for people to, to jump on the calls and participate and don't have to leave their offices or their home. So we'll see how a new normal is, what our next, meeting platform is going to be like. But as of October 11, we will continue to be on Ring Central and have our meeting.
And we're also going to be discussing the issues from everybody's point of view with the ADM reimbursement. Because we know that everybody has a lot of problems with the new changes. They're all correct. Remember, it came from central office, and yes, unfortunately, we got to beat it like a dead horse because families are not getting the reimbursement. The agencies are losing their funding and having issues, and we refuse to accept this. So we're all going to work together, and we hope to see everybody on Wednesday, October 11th at 10 a.m. The links will be sent. So we hope to see everyone there. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Heather from the Transition Council meeting. We are going to be restarting up. I believe it's next week. We meet on the fourth Thursday of the month. We're just going to start in the beginning of just sort of going over what the purpose of the meeting is. And then we're going to be asking people to bring in some cases that they're working on to see if we can sort of brainstorm and learn from each other. Of course, people should be sending in whatever flyers and things like that, or programs that they're maybe developed. If we've already have those flyers, no need to send them. We've now implemented a Google Drive, which has been going pretty well so that people can access what's out there. We would love to have more input from the care coordinators. It seems that would be a better addition to our meetings. I would say that one of the things that I wanted to get the agencies to see and OPWDD to understand is that there is a very large, and we all know it, but I don't know that OPWDD is really understanding it. From what I can tell, is that there is a very large increase of students with very profound autism. And there's a good amount of students. We have an entire floor now. When I started 21 years ago, we had 2 classes. And that was the first year that we had any students with autism. And these students, some of them are super fastly disabled to be able to go into the community, meaning that they eat objects that are inedible and run away and things like that, unsafe on the street. And so there is a need for day houses with walls where individuals do not go into the community. And I know that that is the big focus. And if you know me well, you know that that is absolutely what I believe in. But there are individuals that is not safe. And so that's just something that I want to put out there. I also, I know that there are some agencies that's the focus, but I think that more of the agencies need to infuse whatever it is that they're doing and understanding that autism is going to be the way of, the future, and that programs are going to have to address that on a larger level, because it's the ID population is decreasing, as far as that being the only classification. It's now a dual diagnosis with autism and intellectual disability, and it's very different needs, as we all know. But I don't see that when I'm going and looking at programs as much as is needed. So I think that that's something that really needs to be addressed on a larger scale throughout the agencies. I don't know where else to message, where else to put out that message, because it's an issue when I go to place students. I'm not sure where is the right place with the best structure. So that's what I have to say. And of course that, students are remaining until the 22 now.
Hi, Heather. This is Delia. This is Delia Tucker from the from OPWDD from the regional office. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. If you could send the information from your transition meeting, I'd love to have one of our local school transition coordinators attend. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
Wonderful. And is there now a Brooklyn liaison? To my knowledge, there wasn't the last.
Yeah, as you know, in the field, we've had some staffing issues. So we're in the process of hiring. I think things are looking up for us. So I'll get an update on staffing for the next meeting for you all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Heather. And also thank you for joining us, Delia. Next, Marjorie, do you want to give an update on your new revamped Children's Services Committee?
Good morning, everyone. Happy Rainy Day Monday. I'm really excited to be chairing the committee. My understanding is that we haven't met in a long time, but Brooklyn is back. And we are looking for your support. First meeting is next Wednesday, the 27th. Ideally, we're going to be meeting on the 4th Wednesday of every month. And yes, we're just looking forward to bringing back some of the good work. I know
somebody mute yourself. Is interfering with Marjorie, please.
Thank you, Marian. So please bring your ideas. We're literally right now down the rasa because again, as we said before, we're starting afresh. Looking forward to everyone's input and getting our meeting back and getting the support and information back to the families that need them in Brooklyn. So thank you, and I will see you next week.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. And then
Excuse
just
me,
for
Brian,
the general.
this is Chris. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Marjorie, you sound very gumble, and I agree with Marilyn. Can you please put the date under the chat when your next meeting is, please? Because I know you had some issues. We didn't hear you very clearly. And sorry, Brian, to interrupt, but I agree with Marilyn. We didn't hardly hear her very clearly.
Okay. And also, just in case anyone needs, on our new website, bkddcouncil.org, if you go to the calendar, all the committee meetings are up there with the links. So you can find it that way if you weren't able to hear what she was saying. We apologize for that. For a plug for the Brooklyn Council. So next month, our meeting is on Monday, October 23rd, and we'll be having a special presentation by Kelly Weiss from the New York State Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence and their new initiative to work with and include the IDD community and educate the IDD community, as often there is a lot of crossover between domestic violence and our population. And then also in November, on Monday, November 27th, we're going to have a special presentation on employment for people with IDD by Kim Hill, who's New York State's Chief Disability Officer. So please have those on your calendar. Keep an eye on our website for updates on our Facebook, and make sure to attend those meetings as well as our regular committee meetings. I believe that's it for committee updates. So Chris, can you give a brief MTA update?
I'll be with you in a minute.
Chris?
Chris, where are you?
I think
I'll,
himself.
right, I'll go check.
So again, everyone throughout the meeting has been putting announcements in the chat. This meeting was being recorded. The chat will be saved. It will be posted on our website and made available for all to see in case you missed anything, or if you want to find any flyers or anything of that nature. While we wait for Chris for his MTA update, is there, and I know we have a number of representatives from legislators on the call. If anyone has any announcements or wants to introduce themselves to the Brooklyn DD Council, feel free to pop on now. And also, if there's any providers out there that have other special announcements that they need to elaborate on from the chat, feel free to join us now as well. Alex, I think your hand is up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alex. I will be representing Senator Prasad for this meeting. She is the state senator for District 19, Brooklyn. I just wanted to say that the senator is aware of a lot of these issues, and unfortunately she couldn't make it today, but a lot of the issues that you presented today will be passed along to her. I was a little nervous when I kept hearing you guys talking about we're gonna go to Albany, we're gonna protest, and I'm over here like, oh no, don't shoot the messenger, right? But I guarantee you the senator is aware of these problems. And as as many of you are aware, she sits on the Committee for Social Services. So she will be reviewing all of these notes to make sure that your voices are being heard, your problems are being addressed. So definitely, as many of you discussed, if you're not within our district, definitely go to your representatives, whether that be state, city, local, or whatever. Make sure you make your voices heard, announce those problems. But I can guarantee you that the senator is aware of many of these issues. And if she isn't, she will be aware after going over the notes. So I've also provided my email. If there's anything anyone wants to specifically touch on more with what they brought up in this meeting, that I can include in my notes and the senator can see further. Lastly, I will be providing a attachment for an upcoming event that we have. It is a housing resource fair, because given the current climate with our housing crisis, we'll be having around 20 plus organizations a part of this fair, providing information, resources, that's either housing or adjacent to housing, such as utilities. National Grid is going to be there, Verizon, all those agencies. So definitely make sure that if you need the resources, or somebody needs the resources, provide them the flyer for our September 23rd housing resource fair from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I've contacted a few agencies that are also in this call, so if you guys could also follow up with our, our emails and such, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you so much, Alex. And just two quick things. Just to clarify, we advocate, we don't protest. Just want to make that clear. We're big advocates. We're not protesting. And also, we really please thank the senator because we know she is one of our biggest backers, and I know she always sends representatives to our meetings. She always has an ear and an open door for us. So we really truly do appreciate that. So please send our thanks from
Absolutely.
the
Thank
whole
you so
field,
much.
but especially the Brooklyn DD Council.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Brian, this is Chris. I'm back. I was actually speaking with the MTA subcommittee. So that you
All right. Can you give a brief update on MTA
I'm done.
updates?
I'm
for us,
ready.
Chris?
Yes, I do. I'm ready
right.
when you are, because we
All
do
right,
have some.
take it away.
Let me start one thing. First of all, good morning, everyone. As I said, Brian, my PowerPoint report. Brian, can you please make sure that that goes to share to everyone? The main thing I just want to be very clear to everyone. Yes, the fare has gone up. B, the fare has been shown a full fare and reduced fare. That information is on the PowerPoint. Second thing is there are some people have asked me, is there bus cuts, train cuts? The answer is no. There is increasements in certain subways. There are certain lines. They're not some Brooklyn right now, but they are going to be increasing certain lines. There are also a lot of things going on with MTA. The main thing is our budget is stable. So I want to remind everyone, as you pay your fare, the budget will stay as balanced. Now, as a reminder to everyone for accessibility, we are reporting additional more elevators will be opening. Grand Street was just opened in Williamsburg. I don't have the date for Park Slope yet because it has to be tested by federal regulation. That will be announced later on the next couple of weeks. But I am encouraging everyone to please check the information I have put on. Also to remind everyone that you will see the Omni vending machines coming into stations. There are some right now coming in right now. So I'm going to encourage everyone, those are not to be used at this time for the next 30 days. As I just got the information just now, they're asking everyone to please wait till the MTA announce it at a press conference. Right now, they only will work on test Omni cards, which only 2 people have that here. That is Deborah Greif and me, which I can say that for the record. That once those cards and everything is ready to go, we will let you guys know. But as a reminder you, there are a lot of things coming in. There are some certain subway changes, and there are some concerns that some people have not switched over from the reduced fare Metro card to the Omni. You have the choice of the app or the phone. I have put that link and information into the PowerPoint. So I encourage anyone has any questions or concerns. I'm here. I will answer any questions that we have. But I do want to remind everyone today, the MTA board subcommittee is on. So I'm actually, you'll see my camera on, like Marilyn just did hers. I'm doing mine off and on. We're reminding you that if you can't speak today, you can always do it on the regular board, MTA board meeting. We are aware of the accessory right issue because I know someone just asked me that. I am aware of the accessory right issues with the GPS. We are investigating it right now. Carmel Kiawara is investigating it. And if any issues like that, please go to the MyMTA customer feedback and please put your complaint in. The reference number goes in and does keep track because sooner or later, if that reference number goes in and you don't get a correct response, you can send it to your politician. That's where they're there for. That's all I have at this time. Brian, do you have anything you want to, anyone has any questions, or Debbie or Delia Tucker?
Does anyone have any questions for Chris?
And I do want
Chris,
to
you put people
apologize
on the spot when you call out their names like that.
I'm used to it.
because you're the chair. They're the chairs.
Yes, I'm used to it, but I will also bring up one important thing. That it's very important that you also make a formal complaint when you have issues, and I'll tell you why. Then the supervisors and the higher up in the MTA can see it. Plus, it makes it easier for an elected official to assist you. Because once they see you have made the official complaint, you can do an app, you can call or even complain through 311. But it's very important that you make the complaints They want, and if also say person did a great job and assisted you in a very difficult time, they need to hear that too. But we need we need the data that you did make the complaint. That's how the changes and improvements are made. Thank you.
All right, thank you both. All right, Chris, I don't see any questions, so thank you for your report.
Oh, wait a minute, State Senator.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. It's not a question per se. I just wanted to explain something for the constituents who may not know, if I may. So my job as a constituent liaison is to ensure that your voices are being heard, and communicating your concerns or your issues with agencies directly. So no matter, we're willing to tell people outside of our district, or sometimes we will direct you to whoever your state representatives are. But if you're having an issue with the MTA, if you're having an issue with HRA, whomever the state funded agency is, we would be gladly to contact those agencies and let them know, hey, the constituent says you're not contacting them, or they were denied for no reason, and so on and so forth. So whatever issues you have, even if you're unsure on how we can help you, you could always contact us or your state representatives or local government to make sure you're being advocated on.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other representatives?
Hi, Brian. This is Angela Blades from the Brooklyn DDRO. Let me put the camera on. Can you see me, hopefully? Good morning, everybody. My name is Angela Blades. I'm the Family Support Coordinator for Brooklyn. I put my information in the chat. If you have any issues or questions regarding the family support ADM or getting reimbursement, you can always contact me and I will follow up. That was it. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem, but Angela, you left out one of the more important announcements that I know people look forward to. Angela is in process of updating the Brooklyn Family Support Guide.
Oh, yes.
And that should be coming out in the next few months. And I know that's one of the biggest emails that we get from people that attend our meetings is, where's the update? When's it coming? Where can I find it? So she's working on it for all of you guys.
And it is the hardest thing to do. So if you have and you want to be part of that, please just email me your information and I will email you back with the with the blank, so I can add you to the book. I appreciate all your help, and just be patient. I'm working on it.
Thank you so much, Angela.
You're welcome.
Any other announcements people want to make or introductions? Please feel free. There's a lot of announcements in the chat, and again, that will be posted to our website after the meeting. Oh, I see Marion.
Yes, hi. I'm here to announce that there's going to be a rally in Albany on November 15th at 11 o'clock in the War Room, and we are supposed to wear orange. Okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
We also have Carrie Banks.
Hi, all. Ooh, I'm not in the right place. Is that better? Hi. It's good to see everyone. Welcome back. And I just wanted to remind people about the Brooklyn Public Library and our services for children and teens with disabilities at Inclusive Services. I've put some things in the chat. Thank you, Chris, for talking up our Developmental Disability Resource Fair. We're very excited about that here. And we have some other things, including a transition fair that is for students with disabilities who are transitioning. The rest of you are welcome to come too. We'd love to see you, but the primary audience for that is people with developmental disabilities who are transitioning this year, last year, next year. And that's on October 19th at the Brooklyn Heights Library, and I'll put the information about that in the chat again. And just please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about our services or anything else. We also have a workshop coming up with Planned Parenthood on sexual health for individuals, for adults with developmental disabilities. That'll be at the Flatlands Library. If you want to find out more about that, shoot me an email. And finally, and this is for everyone because it's totally amazing, the Book of Hove at the Central Library, the exhibit focusing on the work and life of Jay-Z is amazing. It's free and it really is for everybody. If you like his music, you're going to love it. If you've never heard of his music, you're going to find it fascinating. So join us at the Central Library between now and the middle of December. And of course, everything is free. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Carrie. I don't see any questions right now.
Okay, great. I'll try and put my
Alright.
hand down.
All right, thank you. Next, Jackie Tripodi.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jackie Tripodi. My colleague Doris had put our contact information in the chat. I'm going to also add our email address. I just want to reiterate the importance of the family support reimbursement and the changes to the ADM and how it's impacting so many families that we've been receiving very minimal amount of applications for reimbursement. And it's distressing because what we want to do is truly help families get the support that they need. And it's a real challenge to do so. I did put my email information into the chat. We do obviously have funds available to help with the reimbursement process. And if anybody has any questions, Doris did put my cell phone number in the chat already. But please know that we are here and we do want to try to get this support to these families and with the New York State Institute on Disability. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much. Next up, Sandy Napier. Sandy, we can't hear you. No. You're not on mute, but we can't hear you. So I'm not sure if you're connected to audio. So we'll go, I think Mary McGuire has her hand up while Sandy tries to figure that out. Go ahead, Mary.
Thanks, Brian. Just to reiterate what Jackie said about the Family Support Service ADM. So Friday, the statewide meeting, which Deborah also mentioned, is between 11 and 2. And there's public comment there. So if parents can go and sign on to register and sign on to that meeting and comment on the trouble that they're having spending this money and getting approved and all the concerns, they need to hear it firsthand from the families. You know, we're there enough to talk as a group, you know, on a whole, but I think when a family member gets on and tells their personal struggles at this statewide meeting, means a lot. So again, it's on their OPWD website, and I'm sure Deborah can post it on your Brooklyn Council's.
Yes, Mary, we will be doing that, but I also wanted to make sure I have the correct link. Josie didn't send it to us yet.
I can put it in the link.
All right, send it to me because
even better.
Even better. Thanks, Mary, for your help.
And you can send anything to me to get on the website, the Facebook, send out an email blast. That's not a problem either.
And by the way, Mary is on the committee with me, and I appreciate her help and assistance. And by the way, one good thing I have to say about Region 4, Mary's with the co-chair of the statewide is Gail Pato with Kathy Noe. You know, Kathy's in Staten Island, but Gail is upstate. And we want to thank Region 4 staff who did show up at our meeting. And Gail was very impressed how well they were willing to work with us. Am I right, Mary? Remember? She was shocked. But we do still need all your information. If you have issues, please let me know that you're not getting your reimbursement. Let me know how much trouble you're having. I will take anything and I will compile the data. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Sandy, are you back? Did you fix your audio?
I hope so. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yay. Okay, good. I just wanted to let you know that Adapt Community Network we're going to have our Family Connect Summit 2023 on Thursday, October 5th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to have some great topics, and you can register for as many sessions as you like. If you can't attend everyone, you can choose the ones you'd like to attend. We're going to offer Spanish and Mandarin interpretation. We do like you to register. You need to register, and the information is on the chat. Also, we're having another free workshop on this Thursday, the 21st, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., ABA for Asian American clients. And on the 28th of September, we're having Advocating at the IEP meeting, Strategies for Success, what every parent needs to know. And our speaker is going to be none other than Chris Trieber. So I hope you'll join us, and all the information is on the chat, including the links to register. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. All right, on my end, I don't see any other hands up. So maybe we can give everyone 15 minutes back in their day. So just want to thank everyone for attending, dealing with us figuring out Zoom for our first meeting of the new year. And we look forward to seeing you at all our committee meetings and our future general council meetings.
Thanks,
Keep an eye on our
Brian.
website for updates. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.